back. We appear to be streaming again. Okay, good. My laptop has a new problem. Which is as follows. When I unplug my laptop and use the battery, fine, no problem. When I then get up here and plug my laptop in again, all of a sudden my battery's down to 0 and the computer shuts off. Even though it had plenty of battery while I was carrying it up here and it was unplugged. If I had left it unplugged, I could have continued live streaming for a while without any problems. But because I plugged it in, it decided all of a sudden I have no battery left and it's time to shut down. And then when I turn it back on, it says, you have this battery problem. Do you want to continue startup? Push enter. I say yes, enter. So basically, I can unplug my laptop and use the battery, but I have to then be done with whatever thing I'm doing, turn off the computer before I plug it back in. So, you know, it's like I'm not upset at the laptop. This laptop has been phenomenal, really durable. I'm not good at taking care of stuff like this, and it's done a great job of being a trooper for years now. It's not surprising that it has some little problems, but that one's a bit of a baffling problem. It's like you were doing just fine on battery power. You had like 60% battery left. How is it that plugging you in makes you lose all that 60% of battery power? I'm not sure how, I don't know how that works, but somehow that's how it works. I don't know why. So that's what happened. I made the horrific mistake of plugging my laptop in, thereby causing the computer to realize that it had no electricity. Strangely. Even though it did. And I plugged it in. So, I have no explanation for that phenomenon at all. It doesn't seem to make any sense at all to me, but, you know, I'm no tech expert, so you know what I am. I'm a man who got a new pair of glasses. So I can read things now. The only thing is, these glasses are just readers. So it's like, I have to get close to what I'm looking at, and then it's super clear. But if I'm back here, it's blurry. I didn't think about that when I bought them, really. I said, well, I want to get the more powerful kind of glasses. So I could see so well. These were probably the wrong glasses to get. I mean, they're fine if I'm reading a book or something. I don't want to have to sit like this to see all the text clearly. I see it very clearly now, but I had to be this close. I don't think you guys want this much of Eric's face, probably. So, I guess I'll take off the glasses. I mean, they're still good to have. Like, I still want them around my neck with one of those string things. Because there are lots of times when, like, I order food and they hand me the check. And I go, I can't read this shit. Which pocket are my glasses in? None of my pockets. Are they in my backpack? No. I must have left them in the car. They're not there either. Who knows where my glasses are? Regardless, I need to sign this bill right here, pay for things, now, not after I go find my glasses. So, Rachel does a lot of reading things for me, is what happens. The other thing I periodically do is this move. Well, I may not be able to read this, but I can do this. I can take a picture of it, and then I can make it bigger on my phone, right? Ah, now I see what it says. I pull that move sometimes. But, yeah, when I was at the steakhouse at the Madonna Inn, and I had my glasses in my pocket, but couldn't find them, I was doing that with the menu. I was like trying to, like, okay, what does this say? Let me take a picture of this part of the menu. Oh, okay. Now let me take a picture of this part of the menu. Oh. Just work better, eyes. You know, it's like, I get it. You're doing a great job of seeing everything. Fine. It's like my vision is crystal clear. I can read the emergency evacuation plan over there just fine. I just can't read little text up close. I've got great clarity of vision, no blurriness, no cataracts or whatever, you know. But people's eyes, when they get older, that part of your eye that there's like a lens that opens and closes to make you be able to focus on small things or bigger things. It gets weak as you get older, so that you can't. It won't. I guess I don't know if the lens would be more open or more closed to see small things. I'm not sure about that, but whichever one it is, your eyes cease to be able to. The muscles get too weak and they can't do their thing that they do. They can't do their sphincter thing. Oh well. For a 51-year-old man, I've got remarkably few health problems. You know, my hearing's great, which I'm so proud of myself for protecting my hearing from an early age. Early on, when other people who were playing rock music wanted it loud and proud, I was already putting tissue paper in my ears when we play. Because I've always had sensitive ears. I don't like loud noises, and like when fire trucks go by, I always go like this, you know. So I've been protecting my hearing ever since I was a teenager, and not not because I had foresight, but because I didn't like loud noises. And so now my hearing's great. It's, most people start going deaf by the time they're 50 or so because of a variety of reasons. Like Kimberly, she worked as a hair stylist, and she spent decades with hair dryers right next to her going, hey! And made her gradually pretty deaf, you know. I've not had any of that happen to me, so my ears are in good shape. My dad was completely deaf because he was in the military, and also when he was in the Navy, he was in charge of, his job was shooting those big guns. But back when he was in the Navy, they didn't have things like ear protection, like ear things to put over your ears when you fire those big guns. So it's not surprising that he was completely deaf. He also played in the military band with his French horn, and I guarantee you he didn't put anything in his ears, and so it's not surprising that he was completely deaf at the end of his life. But not me. I'm not going to be deaf at the end of my life because that's one thing I've been smart about is I've protected my hearing. And the other thing I've become smart about since the last incident is I need to be very careful to avoid hand injuries. I like to play the guitar. I like to type. I mean, ideally, I'd prefer to talk, but I do a lot of typing. And I'm a big fan of masturbating. So I need to protect my hands. Actually, the last one's not really true. I would probably be a fan of that, except I have a 37-year-old wife who gets mistaken for my daughter all the time, who's 37 and got carded to go into a restaurant we were eating at in Portland. Who's the luckiest 51-year-old man in the world, son? I'm not cradle robbing, but it sure looks like I am. It's fantastic. And, now that Rachel has a little bit of money to spend on herself and her girl stuff, she's always looking sharp as fuck, which I appreciate a great deal. It must have been very difficult for her as an INFJ to maintain being that rad looking when we didn't have any money. She never complained about it. That's why she deserves this harvest of goodness that she is reaping. Because she sowed a harvest. She sowed seeds of goodness in the first place. You reap what you sow. It's fine, ultimate disciple, if it is homo. I am a sexy interview bastard, and I'm fine if you think I'm a sexy interview bastard in a heterosexual way or a homosexual way. Either way is fine with me. Regardless, you're not going to get any of this hot action, but I'm fine with you being sexually attracted to me. That's okay. I don't care. I don't want you to be. But if you are, that's fine. I'm, after all, not in charge of your sexual attraction. However, I do believe that in this instance, you didn't mean it in a homosexual way. Now I'm kind of wishing you did. My goal in life is to be extremely attractive to homosexual men. I just like to create frustration, you see. I like to create frustration. My goal is for every homosexual man to think that I'm the sexiest person in the world and to be desperate to get with me. Because I'm straight, they've got no chance, and I love creating frustration. No, the point is, I'm not attractive, and I'm not sexy at all. And that's fine. I don't need to be either of those things. Because I'm a dude, right? So I can get a hot chick for without being attractive myself. All I gotta do is have something else going on, right? Like confidence, swagger, money, or whatever, you know? That's the advantage of being a dude. You don't really have to look good to get a hot chick. You just have to be a boss, you know? And look at this. How do you think I get this hot chick? It's not with my dental work, clearly. Oh yeah, Ultimate Disciple dating is the absolute worst. Here's what dating is. Let me waste 3 weeks wooing you so that I can fuck you for 10 minutes. Talk about a very poor cost benefit analysis of time. I mean, you know, it's like, yeah, I like to have sex, but if I'm gonna have to woo this dumb chick that I just want to have sex with for 3 weeks with a bunch of Facebook lols and emojis and shit, just to get to fuck her for 10 minutes, I mean, come on. That's not a good use of my time. Maybe 15 minutes if I'm feeling especially long lasting today, you know? Look, the other thing is, no, smoking weed does not lower your testosterone level. That's ridiculous. The thing is, for being such a girly baby like I am nevertheless apparently bursting with testosterone all the time. Otherwise, I wouldn't get such a kick out of yelling at people. Right? Otherwise, I wouldn't be such a boss. And I've been smoking weed since I was 14 years old. And I'm 51. So I got plenty of evidence to tell you smoking weed does not meaningfully or significantly reduce your testosterone level. You could fill me full of as many bong rips as you want, and if you're CVS and you piss me off, I will go wreck your life. Right, misfortune is got it right. Individuals typically react to a given drug the same way every time they take it. However, different individuals may react very differently to that same drug. They will also be consistent in their reactions to it, but it may be the exact opposite reaction of the person A. For example, mushrooms. I realized this morning that I think what mushrooms does is it destroys your third and sixth slot functions.
Certainly does mine.
So what it makes me is less likable and more retarded. What it makes Rachel is less logical and more emotional. What it makes Cameron is not know what he wants and be totally illogical. Now, the thing is, for me, I find mushrooms incredibly liberating because having to be likable is what's constantly holding me back, right? Like, it's really important for me that other people like me, consciously. Unconsciously, I don't give a fuck and only want to get my way. Mushrooms gets rid of that conscious part. So I become meaner on mushrooms, delighted with myself about it, and incredibly retarded at accomplishing anything with the other interface function, my sixth slot function, TE. So for me, mushrooms destroys the interface functions. Good riddance. I don't want to interface with you anyway. I just want to talk and say mean things. That's why I love mushrooms so much. But if your third and sixth slot functions are not interface functions, you are going to have a very different experience with mushrooms. It'll be consistent for you every single time, though. I mean, lower testosterone. I don't doubt that somebody did a study showing that, proving that if you pour enough THC into something, their testosterone will go down. I also don't doubt that you could do the same study with just about anything, and you pour enough of it into somebody, something will go down. You know, that's why TE can't be trusted, you know. Because TE tries to eliminate vectors that are relevant in order to be precise. That's not a good way to be precise. You have to incorporate all relevant vectors to be precise. You can't eliminate those that are inconvenient to be precise. This is why TE is terrible at making policy decisions, because they just simply ignore the fact that their plan is going to have unintended consequences. They ignore the fact that simply making a law, say prohibiting something, does not actually solve any problem, because people aren't dogs. right? Well, we've got a problem with opiates. Let's make a law banning them. Well, that's fine if you, for some stupid reason, believe that making something illegal actually causes people to not do it. If you also somehow believe that law enforcement agencies should enforce the law against people who have not committed a crime against anybody else and therefore have not been reported by anybody. I mean, the police are supposed to go to your house when you call them and say, somebody's robbed me or whatever, right? You have to be a complete idiot to think you can make this drug illegal and have the police enforce that law, because nobody's going to call and complain, officer, hello, I'm doing drugs, please arrest me. Even your neighbors aren't going to call and say, my neighbor's doing drugs, please arrest him. They're going to call and say that maybe, but what they mean is, my neighbors are tweakers, they're up in the middle of the night making noise and bugging the shit out of me, do something about it. Right? They'll always be complaining about an actual trespass upon their expectations, not about the drug use. So, well, I mean, first of all, Ultimate Disciple, why do you want to have a lot of boners throughout the day? Like, the only time I want to have a boner is when I'm going to have sex. Second of all, I don't think more testosterone links to more boners. It's failed to be established anyway. What is established is that higher testosterone links to more assertive, aggressive behavior. That's been established. But even the most testosterone-laden person in the world, let's say you fill somebody up with as much testosterone as possible, that would not mean they'd walk around all day with a boner. Right? So we can kind of eliminate the idea that the higher the testosterone, the more boners you get. The other thing is, whether or not you're getting a boner is contingent on what you're paying attention to. So if I'm watching pornography, I'm likely to get a boner. If I'm thinking about explaining to Rachel why CVS was a bad decision as a place to go to buy peach rings, which is the sort of thing I pay attention to, wow, it is an absolutely fascinating topic. It's not very arousing. Would you like me to explain to you why CVS is a bad place to buy peach rings? I will explain it to you if you want. But I'm going to predict that my explanation will not give you a boner. Okay, I'll explain it. Okay. Now, peach rings could be arousing. I'm not denying that. I'm saying my explanation about why you shouldn't buy peach rings at CVS is not arousing. Okay? Just the word peach rings, I'm already getting hard. But this explanation, on the other hand, is making me flaccid by the moment. Okay, so the reason CVS is a bad place to buy peach rings is not because they don't have peach rings, because they do. And not because they don't have other candy that we also might want to get. They do have that too. The reason CVS is a bad place to buy peach rings is because it's shitty at being a store. Now, it took me, I don't know how long, to explain this pointless explanation to Rachel yesterday or the day before. But as I told her, while I was explaining it to her, if we had been driving down the road and the road was lined on both sides with naked ladies, I would not have noticed them because, after all, I was explaining something. I don't have attention to spare for physicalities in the world when I've got something as important to explain as why you shouldn't buy peach rings at CVS. A great example of this, Rachel and I were sitting in the car the other day here at the hotel, pulling bong rips. I was explaining something to her, as usual. I don't remember what it was. And she kept noticing these people at the park having a party. Like, because she's NI, right? So her intuition is externally directed. She's open to receiving information from the external world. Meanwhile, as I'm explaining this thing and she's noticing the party, a parade of bears could walk in front of the car. I would not even see them because my eyes aren't useful for what I'm doing. What I'm doing is explaining things. My eyes just get in the way by seeing things that are not what I'm explaining. I don't doubt that some people have low testosterone. I doubt that it's because they're smoking too much weed. I mean, it can't have that strong of a link to low testosterone because I've been smoking weed for 40 years or something, and I'm still very assertive and aggressive in my behavior when circumstances call for it. More so than I should be often, which is the clearest link to high testosterone, not boners. So, it's like smoking. Yeah, smoking causes lung cancer in about 1 in 300 lifelong smokers. And for the rest of them, it doesn't cause lung cancer. So, sure, there might be a linkage there. But just as 299 out of 300 lifelong smokers won't get cancer, so too 299 out of 300 lifelong weed smokers won't have low testosterone. Cracking it with something hilarious sometimes gives you a hard on. Cranking up the blood flow with laughter. What's more of a mental thing? Oh, yeah, I agree with Karma's pen. Once you've read and believed that smoking weed causes low testosterone, you're much more likely to engage in some kind of self-fulfilling prophecy about it. You're going to view your own moments of weakness as a consequence of that. But it's probably anything to do with it. One thing I will tell you is, if you do enough whippets, you will get neuropathy. I was skeptical of that too, and I was wrong. So sometimes I'm wrong about these things, right? I was quite convinced there was no way nitrous could possibly have caused neuropathy because I correctly intuited the correct conclusion from a bunch of data. Unfortunately, the real world doesn't respect my correct intuition. And it turned out that Rachel's bundle of symptoms that all emerged from the same night of doing drugs included these symptoms that were a bad reaction to that drug and this symptom that was a bad reaction to that drug. And it turned out, in fact, that nitrous oxide does cause neuropathy. That was what was responsible for Rachel's neuropathy. She knew it, but I wouldn't listen to her because I had made the correct intuitive leap. Forgetting that, of course, with important things like people's health, one shouldn't base decisions on intuitive leaps. Geez, Eric, you're getting a lot of no homo homo energy today. Fantastic. I love that kind of energy. It's contradictory, that's why I like it. It's both no homo and homo at the same time. That's my favorite kind of energy. But the most spectacular bit of homo no homo energy I got today was that unbelievably fabulous Asian man I saw. Were you listening to that?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my God.
Talk about class.
Talk about fabulous. Alright. Complete with a manservant. I mean, I don't know what else you would call this guy who was clearly following behind him, carrying all this stuff as he's imperiously striding through the hall in his floor-length fur coat. I don't know who Andrew Tate is. People ask me about this guy a lot. I do not know who he is. I do not want to know who he is. I have no idea what type he is. But you're not the first person who's asked me that, Ultimate Disciple. I've had multiple people ask me about this guy, Andrew Tate. He's brilliant. Well, if he were really brilliant, he'd be here listening to me. Eric would absolutely hate Andrew Tate. Would I? I don't know. C.S. Joseph thought he was ENFP, Andrew Tate. C.S. Joseph should think himself ENFP, perhaps. Although that would also be wrong. It would be more right than ENTP. No, I think Ultimate Disciple is saying C.S. Joseph thought Andrew Tate was the ENFP. And that bothered him. And then I'm not sure if it's Andrew Tate or C.S. Joseph, made a video to address his comments. You believe C.S. Joseph is an ENTP? Well, that's certainly your prerogative. Do you believe I'm an ENTP? Ultimate Disciple, do you believe I'm an ENTP? Okay, so here's the thing. You believe C.S. Joseph is an ENTP, and you believe I'm an ENTP. Have you considered comparing the two of us against each other to see if we have any similarities or differences? Because, I mean, you're wrong about one of us for sure. Because we're nothing at all alike. I gotta pee. Here's the deal, also. Anytime you begin an explanation like this, the reason C.S. Joseph doesn't seem like an ENTP is because, you have gotten on the wrong horse, facing the wrong direction, and have that horse riding the wrong direction. Allison says, I'm an ESFJ. I'm an ESFJ. That's why everybody likes me so much. Oh, wonderful. No wonder everybody likes me so much. No wonder my YouTube channel's so huge. I'm an ESFJ. What good news for me.
We go on so many social excursions.
I know. Rachel and I love hosting parties, and I go around and greet everybody and have no idea what intuition is. And it's wonderful being an ESFJ. Like this. No. C.S. Joseph's an ENTP. He's just subconscious focused. Use words that mean things, please. Or use words that mean things to mean what they mean. Okay, I can see that I might have misread what you said, or not quoted you accurately, or strawmanned you. The reason I concede that is because I'm an ENTP, not an ESFJ. C.S. Joseph told Michelle Way that she was an ENFJ. more catastrophically wrong could you possibly be?
Like, he was probably expensive.
I bet you had to pay him a lot to tell you that lie, huh? Well, I don't blame you for going after him in his video. The ultimate disciples. Yes, Joseph. I'm surprised he just didn't astroturf it immediately. That's what he normally does. He astroturfs all of his comments. He just deletes every comment that doesn't say you're a genius. He has Joseph. Greta Thunberg got in a weird back and forth with Andrew Tate. Oh, you didn't. That was you're talking about. You left comments on Andrew Tate's video. Okay, I got that wrong. I misunderstood. Well, you've never met my friend Cameron, ultimate disciple. I mean, you might have whatever you have to say about ISTJs, but if you met my friend Cameron, or if you're me or Rachel, we have not a single bad word to say about ISTJ because Cameron is the best friend a person could possibly be. Like, he is so good to us, it's unbelievable. Way better to us than we deserve. I mean, the point is, he's my friend, right? ISTJs don't generalize well. Like, you can reliably expect Cameron to be reliable no matter who you are if you hire him to do something or whatever, right? But you can't expect him to treat you as well as he treats me because he's my friend and not yours, right? He's FI third. He gets what gives him a lot of satisfaction is loving people that he loves, being useful or needed and by them. I always feel like, God, Cameron, I can't possibly impose on you anymore. I mean, Jesus Christ, man. But his absolute value, he feels satisfaction when I need him and he can provide me a solution. Obviously, if I'm needing him for some practical matter, I'm going to hire him and pay him for his time, but he will always try to take less money than I will try to give him. So, um, yeah, he's a hero. How did I know Cameron the ISTJ? It's a weird story, actually. I grew up going to school with his brother Bailey. His brother Bailey is an ENTJ. And he was part of my friend group. We didn't see much of him because he was an ENTJ. So he was busy getting himself into Harvard and getting a law degree and becoming a lawyer. Interestingly, Bailey Carell was one of, or the main lawyer for that one crypto guy who got busted in the Bahamas or something. Regardless, he was part of our friend group, and I knew Bailey and whatever. And Cameron was his little brother, a couple years younger than him. And I never really hung out with Cameron at all. And then, when I was in my 40s, I was on Facebook, and I saw Cameron. I was Facebook friends with him now, and I saw him put some of his drawings up. And I was like, hey, I really like your art here. This is really good. And I'm currently trying to make a video for this song. I need somebody who can draw pictures. Would you be interested in collaborating with me on this? And that's how our friendship started. And if you want to see that video that we collaborated on, I'll put the link. And you can see his drawings, and you can hear myself. Actually, I'll just play it, is what I'll do.
I have a question.
Yes?
Did Bailey and Cameron both go out with Kara?
I don't know if Bailey did or not.
Oh.
Leaf went out.
I'm thinking of
Yeah, you're thinking of Leaf.
That's what,
Yeah. I don't think Bailey did. Leaf went out with Kara.
Okay.
Yeah, Leaf was, Kara was Leaf's high school girlfriend.
The current.
Okay, so for anyone who has not seen it, and for everyone who has, I'm now going to play this video. Let me just make sure the audio settings are right. Okay. Let me mute this microphone.
Courteous potato men politely sell potato skins as beards to wear upon the chins of everyone with cash to spend. Potato beards distinguish one and also are a lot of fun, and when the wearing time is done, then one can chew his beard like gum. But Frances is contrarian, so though she loves her tuber friends, she will not jump aboard the trend and leaves her chin as her own skin. And class she hears how Mr. Lau boasts proudly of his bushy brow, so later on she visits farms to woo potatoes with her charm. She's stricken by Sir Tato Po, a spud beloved high and low and knowing best because of how he has the best potato brow. So Frances musters up her cute and makes up a sob story too, and soon enough Sir Po is sold both on her words and vision. Next week Frances enters into business with potato men, with Sir Topo as her spokesman, and urgent hurry to begin. And thus Po Tweezers came to be. They formed a happy LLC and dealt with Browworks Company, and people had a spud brow spree. Spud brow spree. Spud brow spree. Spud brow spree. And now with Mr. Lau again, it's Frances's turn to present. But Frances doesn't talk of how she made it big in tato brows. Instead she wants to talk of beards. But Mr. Lau, who's sick of hearing speeches on the beardiness, made rules to prohibit it. But Frances works around this wall. She speaks of Dr. Catterwall, Jerome de Hoogers, who was tall and pale, humorless and bald. But Dr. Hoogers also had a foremost place in making fads, and he in fact began the trend when he once hawked potato chips. He claimed his gents were curative and great if you preferred to live, but secretly he added lead, which shouldn't go upon your head. When people started getting sick, the doctor pulled a nifty trick and changed his name and moved away so people couldn't make him pay. For all the damage he had done, he kept the money, made a run, and settled near Francis's house and called himself now Mr. Lau. But Francis had researched a lot before Poe Tweezer, so she got the information she needed to learn. Her teacher defeated the Forest Service and the cops, the FBI karate chops, detectives roaming far and wide to claim reward on Huger's hide. So when his student speech was done, then Mr. Lau began to run, and no one's seen or heard him since, as it should be till he repents. But Browsbury, Bud Browsbury, Bud. Let's go to Betweezers. I'm going on a Spud Browsbury, gonna get some brows for you and me. Gonna go buy brows right now. Hey, wait. Was that Mr. Lau?
And that's how Cameron and I became friends. Yeah, the art does look really ISTJ-esque. You know, Cameron likes to do things like, I mean, the thing is, the art in there is fine and good, but his best shit is really good. Like, he's made some crazy great pictures that just like, wow, that really fucking pops, dude. And one of the things he does is he's got a million different shades of green and gray, so that he like shades things very carefully. Well, the thing is, that song started out as a poem. So I wrote a poem first, which says, which goes, you know, the courteous potato men. I don't remember the whole poem now. But I wrote that whole poem. And it's a great poem. And it tells a great story. And then I decided to make it into a song. The thing is, without the art, it would be impossible to follow along the story in the song, because it's a poem. You really need to read it to get what's going on, right? So in that sense, I was guilty of the thing I complain about other people doing all the time. I tried to make one thing into something else. You know, I tried to add a corkscrew to my poem. But I'm really glad I did in this instance, because I'm proud of that video. Cameron and I collaborated really well, and we made that video. No, I was completely sober when I wrote that poem. I mean, the thing is, I've written a lot of great poems, but people, understandably, aren't interested in poetry at all. Which I get, so that's fine. I mostly write kids' poems because they're the only poems that people are interested in. So, like, I have another poem about Francis and the Dents, which are creatures. Good morning, Delilah. FYI, I'm live streaming.
Okay, no worries. Thank you for letting me know. The escrow people want a PDF copy of the trust and the amendments. Do what like I don't know how to make that happen. Do you think like the lawyer would have a PDF version of it?
No, but I tell you what I'm willing to do. I will go over to you, grab the trust. I will go scan it at Staples and email it to you as a PDF.
Okay, yeah, I mean that would be helpful. But first, let me ask her if she needs all the amendments, because if she needs all of them, it's a shitload of documents. But if she just needs the trust document and the current, like the most recent amendment, um, then that'll be easier because the most recent amendment is pretty small. So
But
let me
also
ask
ask her.
her.
Also ask her this. Ask her if you can simply take a picture of each of the pages, send it to her, and she convert it to a PDF.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Because
Awesome.
if she has Adobe Acrobat, then she can do that. I don't have Adobe Acrobat, so I can't do that. But um, Staples, I can do it at Staples.
Oh yeah, I don't have Adobe Acrobat either. Okay, sounds good. So I was just checking if I did.
All right.
All right. So I'll text you and let you know what she says.
Okay. And if you need me to come get it for you and solve this problem, I will do that. No problem.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate it.
Sure. My pleasure, my darling. I love you.
Okay, love you too. See you later.
Bye. Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of. The nice thing about TE Tool is you, it's a good way to come up with workarounds. So he's got very good FE for FE polar person, but nevertheless frequently makes FE mistakes because he's using heuristics. So if I yawn, he thinks it's time for him to go. Yeah. When in reality, I'm yawning because I ate a whole bunch of mushrooms and they make me yawn. But he's got this heuristic that if somebody yawns, that means they're bored of him. That's an FE polar move, you know. I'm not bored of you, Cameron. I'm yawning because I'm on a bunch of mushrooms. But you know, if you're FE polar, you have to have little heuristics like that because you're not attending by a real FE. You instead are attending by a TE as an attempt to replace FE. You know. If you don't always look towards me, I will feel you are not valuing me enough. Well, Mr. Bobby, I'm looking towards you. What do you know? I was aboard you. How did you flow? You don't look different, but you are not. I'm looking towards you. You are a yacht. Why, tell me, why did you not treat me right? Love has a nasty habit of disappearing overnight. I'm looking towards you. What did you know? I was aboard you. How did you flow? You don't look different because you're not. I'm looking towards you and your yacht. Yeah, I'm looking towards you. They might. I mean, FE DOMs or FE Tool might do things like, oh, it's getting late, or oh, boy, I sure do have to get up early in the morning. I'm likely to say, okay, I'm ready to go to bed. See you later, go home. Yeah. I don't give cues like that. I just tell people what I say, what I think. But but I'm still subject to FE problems for sure. Like what happened at the bank yesterday. I went to the bank to get the deed out of the safe deposit box. We have two safe deposit boxes. So I asked them to open the safe deposit box that I thought it was in, but I got the wrong number. So the one I signed in to open was not the one I expected to be signed in to open. And I looked in there, and I thought, well, this isn't the one I think it's in. And I didn't look very hard, right? The actual deed was in that box, in the back, underneath precious metals. But I didn't think it was in that box. So I said, okay, I have to get into the other box. So then we had to go back up to the front, and they signed me in again to get into the other box. When I get into the other box, I realize it's not in that box, it's in the big box, right? Now, the problem with me being FE third is at that point, there is zero chance I'm going to ask them to let me back into the big box again. Because I'm embarrassed already that I couldn't get the right box in the first place, that I had them open the second box that had nothing in it that I was looking for, and then then ask them to go back and re-sign me in to open the first box again. I couldn't do it. I was just too embarrassed. So I just left without the deed. That's the problem with FE for me. You know, it's like that. I have those kind of FE problems fairly often, where I need to get something accomplished, but I fucked it up in some way, and now I'm too embarrassed to get it accomplished. And the thing is, I wasn't embarrassed about appearing incompetent. I was embarrassed, like in the sense, like this lady's already rolling her eyes at me. I just can't. I cannot. I guess it is embarrassed of being incompetent or something. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but um, like this lady's seeming impatient. I'm FE, and even though there's nobody in the bank, strangely, because usually it's crowded in there. Um, I just couldn't bring myself to tell her. Actually, can we go back to the front and you sign me back into the first box you signed me into? That time was the wrong box. Go to the next one, the right box. I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. So I just walked out of there with these papers that weren't the deed, but had something to do with the deed. That's like they were transfer papers for that transferred the deed from the personal ownership to the trust ownership. I had those papers, which we didn't need, of course. Well, it turns out we don't even need the deed, but I mean, we need it, but like, let's say we had lost it, they can just make another one. We haven't lost it. I'm just retarded at getting things out of boxes. Take something out of a box? Ooh. I don't think you picked the right guy for this job. Boxes, they're like square, rectangular. I'm looking in it, but if I didn't know what's in it, I might have to move things around.
I'm looking for you. Where did you go?
I thought you were here in box 2-4. Instead, you're in other box over there. Wait, no. You were in that box all the whole time. CJ O'Connell proving once again his immunity. The idea of people yawning to signal boredom or whatever is kind of offensive to me. It's like, don't cue me, tell me.
I actually do have a hard time like leaving people though.
Oh, well, I know. I'm just talking about CJ saying this. The idea of people yawning to signal boredom is offensive to me.
Why?
The reason it's offensive to you is because you're like, don't make me figure out subtle cues. Just tell me what you mean. Mac Daddy, another FI polar person, chimes in. Cueing seems ruder than honesty. There's 3 FE third slot people in agreement here. I don't really agree that cueing's rude or offensive. I get it. You know, it's like it's their it's their attentional preference. It's just not mine. You know, right? To me, it seems like, why are you bothering with this humming and hawing? Just say what you gotta say. But no, the Slavs did not want us to stay at the Langham Huntington. They made it impossible for us to stay there. So we're back here at El Meridian. Or, was that what it's called?
I always get it wrong.
Le Meridian. Le Meridian, right? Yeah. Le Meridian. Um, it's like, from an INFJ's perspective, it's like, how stupid how stupid are you? I've given you multiple cues in order to avoid having to tell you to go away, and you've ignored them all. That's from an INFJ's perspective, right? I've been trying to be polite and not tell you to go away because I'm ready to go to bed. I've given you multiple subtle cues to help you avoid the embarrassment. You've ignored them all. And because I'm an INFJ, I'm still not going to tell you to go away. So, it's like, I understand CJ and Mac Daddy's perspective. I share that perspective. But I also totally understand Rachel's perspective and that hers is equally valid,
Okay, so I I don't know. I know you're not like a huge fan of SpongeBob, but do you remember there was an episode early on where SpongeBob goes to visit Sandy, and Sandy lives in an airtight.
Yeah. I know where Sandy lives.
Yep,
Yeah.
and you know which one I'm talking about, where he goes over to visit her, and he starts drying up because there's no water, and he's like, I'm fine, I don't need it, I don't need it, I don't need it, I don't need water. Like, that's an INFJ.
Yeah, all right. SpongeBob's not an INFJ, but that is an INFJ move. Um, girl, quote, I've been dropping things in front of you and bending down to get them. How could you not tell I wanted you to have intercourse with me? See, I was thinking about it when I started reading that. I was thinking about it the other direction. I've been dropping things and you've been picking them up for me. How is it taking you so long to realize that I'm just trying to look at your boobs? Like, you know, oops, I dropped my pen. Would you mind picking it up for me, large-breasted woman? Okay. Oh, like this? Yes. Oh, I dropped another pen. Clumsy me. I've never actually done that. And, of course, I'm not single and not interested in anybody but Rachel. But it does seem like a funny scenario. And, you know, there's a lot of dumb big-titted girls in the world, so you could probably find one who would fall for it a couple of times. But girls usually don't fall for that kind of stuff because they learn early on that men are scumbags.
You'd be surprised.
um,
ESFJs have a real hard time.
the ESFJs?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the ESFJs think that. Yeah, well, whatever. Um, I wanted to answer Lydia's question. No, I haven't played poker in quite a long time now. One of the reasons is I'm an absolutely terrible poker player. Another one of the reasons is when I went through that poker playing phase, it was a way of me dealing with grief. I found I found the I found the space in the poker room soothing. Hello, Delilah.
Hey, yeah, she said she needs, a PDF if you could do the scanning thing. And it has to be the trust and all of the amendments.
Okay, well, I'll come over and pick up the papers from you in a little bit. Then I will go to either Kinko's or Staples or someplace and express to them I need this converted into a PDF and pay them whatever it costs to do that.
Sounds good.
And then I will
Yeah,
email that PDF to you, and you can email that PDF to whomever you need to email it to. Okay?
sounds perfect. Yeah, it said, I said later today, and she said that's fine. So take your time.
Okay. Well, when Rachel's ready, we'll be over there before 2 o'clock. It's now noon.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
At least we don't have to fax it. You want to talk about? Yeah, it's concerning real estate. Well, because it's not me or Delilah selling the house. It's the trust selling the house. The Strauss family trust. That's why it says on this escrow paper that I don't have on hand right now. Seller, Strauss family. Rather than Delilah Strauss or Eric Strauss or whatever. So they need a copy of the trust with all the amendments to establish that in fact Delilah is the one with the power to sell the house, even though it's the trust that's actually selling the house. I will continue with my poker explanation. Thank you, Emily. Emily, do you happen to be the Emily I talked to earlier on the phone about homeowners insurance? I'm guessing no, but just a shot in the dark. I don't know her last name. She's in my phone as Emily Insurance. Okay, you're a different Emily. That's fine. I forgive you for being a different Emily. I will continue with my poker explanation. So when I was, after my dad killed himself, I was I was overwhelmed with stuff to process intellectually. And oh, that boy class, you're Emily Insurance. Good to know. I had too much stuff to process. I needed to write, and I don't write very much anymore because I have this, so I don't need to write. But if I really have too much stuff to process, then I need to write. So I'd sit there at the poker table and I would write and write and write and write and write until I had written out everything I needed to say. The advantage was, because I was there to write rather than play poker, during that period of time, I was actually a pretty good poker player. After all, I just folded everything except the best possible hands because I was writing, not playing poker. If I go to play poker, I always lose. Now that I'm done writing out everything I needed to write about that grieving process, if I go play poker, I'm just, here, let me throw $200 in the trash. Because I'm a terrible poker player, because everybody can always tell what hand I have because I don't hide my emotions at all. We're all just Emily Insurance in the end. Well, it's like I told Emily Insurance. Hi Emily, this is Eric Strauss. My realtor David has been in contact with you about this issue before. I don't know his last name. He's in my phone as David Real Estate, just as you are in his phone as Emily Insurance. I know this because he shared your contact with me. So, I don't know my realtor's last name up there because he's in my phone as David Real Estate. So as far as I'm concerned, his last name is Real Estate. I do know Dean's last name, Griffith, but that's mostly because there's a sign in my front yard that says his name on it.
I knew it.
Otherwise, I would have long since forgotten his last name, and he would just be Dean Real Estate. Face it, girls, I'm older and I have more insurance. That's a pretty good quote from Fried Green Tomatoes. And that's the thing, Elijah. I don't write because I want to write. I write because I have to write. And right now I don't have to write because I'm able to express everything I need to express verbally, which is a lot easier than writing. During that grieving process, I couldn't deal with the information adequately verbally. In other words, talking it out didn't stick, so I had to write. I mean, the thing I hate about poker, by Joe, is when I'm not card dead. you know, when I'm getting good cards, it seems like it's nothing but bad beats. When I'm getting shitty cards, other people are getting the bad beats. And I'm proving that, it's like, but that's because I'm a terrible poker player, right? So it's like, I've got shitty cards. I've decided to play this hand because I'm bored sitting there. They can tell I've got shitty cards. And so they bet. And at that point, I'm pot committed, so whatever. And then, of course, I hit my third seven on the river or something, and they lose. That's how I win at poker, is by being so bad at it that sometimes I get lucky and win. Well, I mean, that's the thing, is also I don't find playing poker very entertaining unless I've got something that's actually entertaining me the whole time. Otherwise, it's just kind of dull. When I was grieving, I found the dull pleasantness of it very soothing. As somebody around here said, it's a highly curated experience, which I thought was a brilliant way to put it. It's a highly curated experience. Bip, 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 bip. As I said, the great thing about the casino is it's a place where something is always happening and nothing ever happens. It's like I could sit at that poker table for 5 hours folding hands and finally get blinded off. Guess what? A whole bunch of nothing happened. Yeah, well, when I was in that state of emotional distress, I found it very soothing to be at the casino. It was a very curated experience, like you said. The shuffle of the chips, the cards, the coffee, the dull murmurs, the dealer saying to me again, "Sir, big blind, big blind." Oh, my bad, sorry. Because, I'm busy not paying attention to whose blinds it is. Yeah, so the thing is, I will play poker, and I have done this for years, when I need soothing. It's a firefighter for me. Like when Kimberly and I were going out and we had a big fight or something, and I just could not tolerate her insanity any longer, I'd go and play poker, lose a couple $100 that we couldn't afford, and feel like, well, that was dumb, but at least it was time not spent with Kimberly. um, the other thing that was fun at the poker room though is I was clearly writing a book for everybody who could see me. Had my big pad of paper. I'm filling it all, complete this one, get a second fucking notebook of paper. And people kept asking me, "What are you writing? Are you writing a book?" Yeah, sort of, I'd say. About poker? Sort of. Well, what's it about? And then I'd tell them this: death and grieving. And they'd go, "Oh." It's like they wanted a sexier answer than that. They wanted me to be writing about poker and the poker table. And they wanted to potentially be mad about me writing about them or happy about me writing about them. What are you writing a book about? suicide, death, and grieving. Oh. That doesn't sound very fun. Then nobody, after one person at the table asked me what I was writing about and I answered them, then nobody else asked me until the next day when I go to a different table and then somebody would ask me and I tell them the same thing. Everyone's like, oh. Suicide, death, and grieving is how I like to spark up those Fe chemicals at the table. It's a good comment by Joe. Then just go all in right after. What's your book about? Suicide, death, and grieving. All in. And people's like, oh, am I paying attention to my poker hand now or what just happened? I'm not sure. I call. You should. um, generally speaking, actually, when I go all in, unless I'm short stacked, it's a bad idea to call me because I don't like going all in. I generally try to only go all in when I have the absolute nuts. Now, of course, it's pretty difficult to have the absolute nuts after the flop, but it's possible. You can know for sure that you have the absolute nuts after the flop if you get like a straight flush or something, right? But even then, the last two cards could make somebody else a better straight flush. If you got the shitty end of the straight flush, you know. So it's hard to say for sure you got the absolute nuts after the flop. But let's say you got two sevens and the flop comes out 7-7 jack. You should definitely go all in because even if somebody else has a pair of jacks, your 4 sevens should win the hand. Okay, that fourth jack might come out, and you get beat 4 jacks over 4 sevens. But you know, that's not a bad thing to have happen because then you hit the bad beat jackpot. If your four of a kind loses to a better four of a kind, the whole table wins. It's like a $30,000 jackpot. Like 15,000 goes to the person who got the bad beat. Like 10,000 goes to the person who won the hand, and the other 5,000 gets split among the table, something like that. So you should definitely go all in if you got four of a kind after the flop, regardless of the fact that you got 4 2s, let's say, you know. Well, the one I go to, Hawaiian Gardens, they have a bad beat jackpot, and how big it is depends on what level you're playing at. So the level I'm playing at, 100, 200 buy-in, 200 buy-in, really. You can buy in for as little as 100, but you should always buy in for the max buy-in. If the max buy-in is too high, go down a level, but still buy in for the max buy-in. Anyway, at that level, 100, 200, or what they call 1-2. They call it 1-2 because $1 small blind, $2 big blind, not because it's 100 or $200 buy-in. But anyway, if you get the bad beat on the 1-2 no limit, it's 30,000. and it gets split amongst the table. But the winner of the hand and the bad beat victim get the most of it. Anyway, looks like Rachel's almost ready to go. We're going to have to drive over to Delilah's and pick up that document and get it converted into a PDF and yada yada yada. I like talking poker with you, Elijah. I think it's fun. Most people aren't poker players, so we have a fair amount of jargon that probably a lot of people don't understand all the jargon if you're not a poker player. But even though I'm a terrible poker player, I am very knowledgeable about poker. The only problem is this whole reading other people part of it. I'm both terrible at reading other people and terrible at not having them read me. Like, I don't even consider trying to read the other people at the table for information. I don't even bother. What I do is I go, this is the hand I have. Which hands could beat me? And that they might plausibly have. And if I think it's plausible, reasonably plausible, that they have one of those hands that could beat mine, then I'll just fold. I don't bother trying to read them to see if they actually have that hand or not, because I know I'm not any good at that. I'll read them wrong, you know. So, Rachel, what I'm going to suggest, if you're okay with it, is I'm going to go downstairs, smoke a cigarette, and let you hold down the fort here.
Sure.
Then I'm going to come back up in the stream and go do the thing.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Cool. I'll be right back. I'm going to just grab a key. Sorry.
It's alright. Hi, Jeremiah Fix. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate that. I like your style too. I think you always look really good too. Not to be nitpicky, but Jeremiah Fix, my name is spelled Rachel. I'm not Jewish though, but my parents like the name spelt the Hebrew way. Meghan Markle being dumb lately. I have heard. So I haven't heard a lot about her. I mean, I have heard a lot about them, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. And Prince Harry has a book coming out, which, yeah, probably did sound like Rachel. Rachel. Prince Harry has a book coming out, and he throws like everyone under the bus. He throws his brother under the bus. It's all right. A lot of people spell my name Rachel because they know that I'm not Jewish. So I believe the more English way of spelling it is Rachel. Yeah. So Emily, I'm on Prince Harry's side. I do think that the royal family has racism issues to deal with. But I think they both, I guess I'm more team royal family because I think Meghan Markle is a narcissist. And she has kind of brainwashed Harry to go against the people who love him, and I know it's like kind of controversial because like I have issues with my family and I'm not really on like full like speaking terms with them either. But it's not because like Eric's in my ear being like, "Oh, you shouldn't be with you shouldn't talk to your family because this that and the other thing." Like they're bad people. It's my choice because I've lived with them for over 10 over well, I lived with them as an adult over 10 years and I was treated. What is their couple name? Harkle? Yeah, Harkle may be a good one. I like that. Harkle is a good one. Jeremiah Fix says, I dislike modern stance on these words. I would say they're classist and, of course, royalty are classics. Yeah. It's an awful name for an awful couple. It's a terrible couple. And I actually like Prince Harry as a person. Like, I feel like well, I don't know, he's controversial too, because remember that whole, like, him dressing up as a Nazi. He was so young. But, I mean, he dressed up as a Nazi for Halloween one year, and that was a little tasteless. But, yeah, like, I think she's playing the victim role real well, and he's buying into it. And he probably had issues. I don't doubt that he had issues. With the royal family before Meghan. It's not easy being so low in the ranks when you know your brother is the heir to the throne. Yeah, based. Well, so Jeremiah Fix, what have you heard about Meghan Markle, that she's really dumb? I have some English. And I have English, Welsh, and Irish, and Scottish in my heritage. So I really like learning about the what does based actually mean? I know you use it a lot, and I've meant to ask you like what it means, like how to use it, because like I like it. I like that you say based. She's saying she feels in danger because of some Harry related thing. Come on now, like when are you gonna feel safe? You're never gonna feel safe. You're a public figure. What do you mean? Karma's pin. Ah, factually grounded. Ah, I see a controversial truth. A controversial truth. Poor Harry, man. I mean, he just got fucking suckered in by a pretty face and a nice smile. She probably has a slam body too because she's an actress. I don't know what he. Hmm. Ooh, Master Bobby. Well, okay, Master Bobby, you make a good point. Her being divorced should have been a red flag. However, I think it's the way that she handled the divorce that was more controversial than her actually being divorced. Because I mean, Eric's been divorced twice, right? So.
And the red flag was Eric's terrible at picking relationship partners. Not that he's a bad relationship partner.
Right. Me too. I have had a lot of short-term relationships because you could look at that as Rachel's not a good partner.
Well, you're also bad at picking a relationship partner, but you're a lot better at me at realizing sooner that you should go. This is why Rachel and I are such a magical delight, is that somehow, despite the fact that we're both terrible at picking people to be with, we ended up together and have as perfect a relationship as I have ever seen anybody ever have in my life. I mean, I know there must be other couples like us that are this happy, but they're very rare. Almost nobody gets with the right person.
So, guess what's happening now with Harkle?
Who's Harkle?
Meghan Markle and Harry.
Oh, I didn't know
right?
they had a name
CJ
like
came up with that. Isn't that a good name?
Yeah, that is a good one, yeah.
Because it's so like an ugly nickname.
Harkle.
So Harkle, she's like saying that she's stressed out because of some stuff that Harry said.
Look that way. That's what it means.
Yeah, so she's saying now that she's stressed out because of
some stuff Harry said.
Right? Isn't that terrible? Like, who's not targeting Meghan? Everyone's okay, according to her, everyone's targeting her.
I certainly hope they are.
You know what her first name is? Rachel, and she gives Rachel's a bad name.
I mean, I'm pretty sure her first name is Cunt.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Her last name is also Cunt? You know what? Let's have Meghan Markle marry Amber Heard.
They would make really good friends.
They would be a great couple. They could both take turns shitting in the bed.
Yeah. They could both take turns shitting on the bed. Right. Like dogs. Or cats, actually, like our cat.
I mean, but even our cat is smart enough not to shit in the bed we're sleeping in.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, look, like, Johnny Depp said some things that were not FE great. Like, he said that after he saw the poop on the bed, he was, like, livid. So he sent some texts to, like, a friend, and it was basically like, yeah, I'm gonna, like, push her over the bar stand and shove a bottle up her pussy. So, like, that's not really great, but taking a shit on the bed, I mean, that just, like, that's not mental health. That's, like, not looking good.
Never text or say physical threats.
Yeah, that was bad of him. It was really bad. When I heard that, I was like...
The thing is, you don't need to make actual physical threats. There's much better ways. Like,
he did say
what I said about Janet, right? If Janet doesn't get out of my deal here, she will be Hiroshima. I will be the Enola Gay. She will be Nagasaki. I will be the Enola Gay. She will be Nanking, and I will be the Japanese fucking Imperial Army. No, I'm talking about nuclear bombing her and the rape of Nanking. But I'm not actually making any physical threats. Because I don't have any nuclear bombs, and I'm not the Japanese Imperial Army.
No, Mac Daddy, there were text messages. Unfortunately, there was a paper trail of text messages that didn't sound so great. But the thing is that she lied in court. She said that the money that was going from her divorce was going to go towards charity, and it never did. And she lied about that in court. So what a lawyer said was that if you lie even once in court and they catch you, that means that everything else that you say to people is going to be a lie. They're not going to trust you.
That doesn't just apply to court, by the way. That's
Really?
exactly what I did to CBS.
Yeah.
Right? He lied to me one time that I could definitely prove he lied. And so I went down there and explained to them, because he lied to my face, and I can prove it, you have no more credibility. Only a fool would believe anything you say, except here's your prescription.
Yeah.
It works all through life, not just in court. That's why you shouldn't lie. If you lie, you might run into somebody like me, who both doesn't lie and hates being lied to, and will beat you over the head metaphorically with your lies.
And then I think I mean, there was a really good judge for that that trial. That trial was so interesting to me. And I think that, I think it was just a turbulent relationship. But, oh, you look so handsome, my Mr. Man.
It wasn't a turbulent relationship. It was an FI-polar probably person who decided to get with Amber Heard. You know, it's just like me and Kimberly wasn't a turbulent relationship. It was a good relationship partner and Kimberly. You know, I'm a great relationship partner. I'm fair.
You
I
are.
treat my partner well. I try to do my best to respect and love her, etc. So if I'm in a turbulent relationship, it's the other person's fault, not mine. I mean, it's my fault for picking that partner, but it's not my fault that we were fighting. It was her fault because what I was saying was correct, good, true, just, right, and fine, and what she was saying was no, 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 no.
Yeah, she wasn't listening to you at all. She didn't want to listen to you.
Right. Now I understand why. Because I was telling her the truth, and she didn't want to hear that.
So, one of those major things people cite when discussing Ireland is potatoes. I mean,
Isn't it also Amber Heard? I believe she was responsible for the Irish potato famine.
yeah, the potato family. We're anti-Brit now, so we're not just Harkle, anti-Harkle. We're anti-Brit now. They just lost their queen. I feel pretty bad actually about that. I would rather have the Queen of England to come back from the dead than have Charles as the king.
I mean, just um, talk about replacing Pete Carroll with Clay Helton.
I think he knows it too.
Although actually, I believe we replaced Pete Carroll with somebody else. We didn't go straight from Pete Carroll to Clay Helton, but you get the idea, right? You can't, when you lose Pete Carroll as your coach, the guy you bring in next better be a really good coach. Queen Elizabeth defined what a queen was. She every moment of her life was queenly. Prince Charles is just a big dork.
Oh my god, he's such a dork. He's so dorky.
I guess he's King Charles now.
Oh, but the potato famine. Yeah, you know what? Honestly, my ancestor, like I feel it in my bones that I had in my ancestors had the potato famine. It's so close to my heart.
That's why you like me to rub potatoes on your face.
Yeah. Yes, it makes me realize potatoes are important.
It puts you in
Potatoes are
touch with your
important.
Irish heritage.
Yeah, it put me in touch with my Irish heritage.
Plus, it's a great way to moisturize. You have to, of course, cut the potato open first. You can't just, not the outside brown part. You have to cut it open, peel it, and then rub it all over the face.
You know, I think, yes, Mr. Bobby, King Charles has wanted to be king for a while, but it's one of those things where when it actually happens, it's a different story. Like, I saw him at the funeral of his, well, obviously, I mean,
He had to wait too long. His mother lived too long. So it's like,
I don't think she wanted him to be.
it's like, I was about a year away from being broken when my dad finally killed himself. He was breaking me, and the situation was breaking me. But he killed himself, thankfully. So I'm fine now, and my mom died, so I'm fine now. Because I didn't have to wait too long. Almost too long, but not quite. So I'm fine. He had to wait a good 10 or 20 years too long. So what he wanted, now he's too old to enjoy it. Now he's too old to.
Everything.
Yeah, everything, right? It's like.
So to avenge the Scots, I'm all about the Scots because the Scottish flag has a unicorn on it, and I think that rules.
Let's avenge them. I agree. I'm going to avenge the Scots by flying the Enola Gay over London and dropping kilts all over the city.
That's like, oh my gosh, it's so Santa Claus.
I said it's not a gift. It's not a gift because if you're
Oh.
in London and you get a kilt dropped on
Oh
you,
no.
you're just reminded of your appalling behavior towards the Scots. Whatever happened to Mary, Queen of Scots?
Yeah.
When she
Whatever
died,
happened to her?
did they not replace her? Because the Scots
That
don't
is
have
a really
a queen
good question.
anymore.
No,
you know?
they don't. They have. Well, no, they did. They're still a part of Great Britain.
Right, but Mary, Queen of Scots,
At some
was
point,
Queen
was
of Scotland,
Yeah,
right?
right.
She was not Mary, Queen of England.
I
She may
don't
have
know.
also been that, but her title was Mary, Queen of Scots.
No, she was Queen of Scotland, I believe.
Yeah, there are two families, two royal families, but one of them won that battle, right? The Queen Elizabeth, Prince Charles side won that battle.
No frickin' way. Elizabeth I had Queen Mary's head chopped off. Wow. What's the Irish equivalent to the Brits and Scots?
The Northern Irish and the Southern Irish.
Yeah, they still fight.
I mean, I don't think they're still actually fighting, but they still don't like each other.
They don't. Oh, they're not still fighting.
I don't think they're actually. All the militarization of the 80s and the
Ah.
IRA is done,
Oh.
but they still
Good.
don't like each other. In Ireland, Protestants and Catholics don't like each other.
Mm-hmm. It's a
And
big
the
deal.
funny thing is, they're both Christians. It's like, why don't you, if you're gonna bother hating some other religion, why don't you pick Hinduism or Muslims or something?
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
They hate their own kind. It's so strange.
yeah, you guys are different kind of Christians, but if you're gonna hate another religion, pick one that's not Christian.
C.J. O'Connell, I have not seen all of Braveheart either. I've only seen clips. And I know that's a movie that is very popular among people.
When I'm president, I'm going to undeclare independence and return the United States to the control of King Charles.
Oh my God,
The
no!
whole United States will be the loyal
That's like
subjects.
having Hillary
The
Rodham
loyal
Clinton.
subjects of King Charles.
Oh no. I am not that filthy cheater. See, I believe that yes, Diana cheated. So it's coming out that Diana had cheated on Prince Charles too, right? Because we found that out.
Yeah.
But I understand it a little bit more because he was cheating so much.
Oh well, I mean, if he was cheating, then
Yeah, he was.
then it's not wrong for her to cheat.
No.
Because she's just getting even.
Yeah.
She should have just left, but
I know.
still, it's and like Prince Charles had this hot Diana chick and was cheating on her with that Camilla lady.
Yeah. And now Camilla's queen.
Prince Charles, are your eyes broken?
Oh.
I
I don't
mean,
know what it was.
Diana was definitely way hotter than Camilla Parker Bowles. And instead of fucking your hot Diana wife, you went and fucked that chick?
Yeah.
And she's kind of like the Hillary Rodham Clinton
Yeah.
of England, right?
Yeah, she totally is. Totally. I don't know how the British feel about her. Like, I'm not really sure. I know they like Diana better.
You think Camilla got Charles to imprint upon her when he was young? That's a possibility, I guess. You know, she could have scent marked him when he was young with her anal scent glands, like meerkats.
Yeah, like meerkats.
In meerkat society, when you go greet your family, the boss of the family rubs their ass on your face to remind you that you're not the boss.
This is tea with famous people. Yeah, like it. Yes, Camilla was like a first love sort of situation. But why not just like fight to marry her?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Maybe he loves Camilla and they're a great couple. Fine. But if he knew that, why did he marry Diana? Why didn't he marry her?
I think he was like, oh my gosh, this woman is so stunning and she is also royalty, so it looks okay.
Which, you know, the truth is she was a lot hotter than Camilla, but she's not really that attractive. Diana, I never found her particularly attractive.
I think she's pretty.
I mean, she's not pretty, but it's like, if you're gonna choose to not marry the woman you love, then get a chick with bigger tits.
I guess the queen probably wouldn't have liked that either.
You know.
I kind of feel bad for Prince William because I like, you know, in the new book that Harkle put out, like Harry really threw him under the bus, and I don't doubt that there was sibling rivalry, like, but.
Well, I mean, Harry is incredibly weak-minded, and so he's a perfect victim for Meghan Markle. Well, that book is partially him venting and partially him obeying Meghan Markle's narrative commands.
Yeah. Mhm.
He's a very weak man.
I can't believe that she's an ENFJ.
She's an ENFJ.
Emily.
Yeah. But you know, here's the thing. Harry got in a terrible relationship. I've also gotten in a terrible relationship, right, in the past. The reason you know he's a weak man and I'm not is that even though we both stayed in our terrible relationships for a long time, he's still in his, I spent the entire time screaming at the other person.
Yeah.
So,
now she's yelling. Now she's blaming him for stress. Like what
right.
the
That's how you know
frig?
he's weak. He's in a terrible relationship and he's not blaming her. See, I accepted that I picked the wrong relationship partner and that was my fault. But in terms of the other person's behavior, they needed to behave properly or I was going to scream at them.
Yeah, I even witnessed that. I had that happen.
I screamed at you?
Yeah, of course, in the beginning of our relationship.
Oh, right. Well, I thought you were Kimberly.
Well, right, and I thought
When
you
I was,
were.
yeah, when we were both carrying over our momentum from our previous
Yeah.
relationship and mistaking each other's things for examples of what those people do.
But it was good though that it happened because it showed me how to behave.
And showed you learned where my boundaries were
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
And I couldn't love Rachel anymore, but I do have some boundaries. And
You
even
have
though
to.
and even though I love Rachel to death beyond all comprehension, I still don't like waiting for her.
Sorry.
And that's totally fine, darling.
That's
It's
you
on
too.
me. That's look,
I've always been a
I'm the
slowpoke.
owner of my own emotions. You'll notice I don't yell at you for making me wait. I just
Just
huff and go
Go
outside. Say, I'll
outside.
see you at the
Yeah,
car.
yeah.
Because you didn't do anything wrong, right? I only yell at people who do things wrong. And making me wait is not doing something wrong. It's just irritating.
No, Mr. Bobby, I don't blame Harry for getting tired of being a third wheel to William and Kate, but it's just sad because I think that it wasn't so bad. I don't think it's as. I don't think that.
Why is he caring about William and Kate at all? He's Harry. He's royalty. He's got money, all the puss he wants, etc.
Mhm. He was supposedly very close to the Queen. Harry and the Queen were very like Harry was the Queen's favorite.
And Harry is Diana's kid that's not by Prince Charles. Is that what's being
Oh my gosh,
hypothesized?
that's what he's saying too. That there were rumors of him not being.
Because he's got red hair and Diana was cheating on somebody with red hair.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that what it was?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean, the
I
thing
don't
is,
know.
that's easy to resolve though. Take a paternity test.
Yeah, yeah.
Instead of just if you're gonna
Yeah,
write a
if you're
book
gonna-
speculating about it,
Your dad's still alive. You can take a paternity test. Exactly.
yeah, take a paternity test. It's like it's a lot quicker and easier to take a paternity test and find out the answer than to write a whole book speculating about it.
Mr. Bobby says the rumor and tea is that Harry was a bodyguard's son. Mm.
Hmm. Well,
The bodyguard was redhead. I've always thought that Harry looked like Charles, but maybe he is. Maybe he.
I mean, the thing is, I feel for that thing, right? Because my first wife cheated on me, but I'm nevertheless certain my daughter is mine. And the reason for this is because our engagement was short. She was on birth control until after we got married. She got off birth control and was instantly pregnant. So she would have had to be cheating on me during the first month of our marriage already, after a very short engagement, for Delilah to not be my child.
Delilah is so like you.
All right. Additionally, there's myriad other reasons to be quite confident that she is my child. I could get a paternity test done, I suppose, but she's mine, and that's it. I don't know. If a paternity test were to tell me otherwise, I don't want to know that. So I'm not going to take a paternity test. But even if I did know that, it wouldn't change at all my relationship with my daughter.
And it's funny, C.J. O'Connor was just going to say that. Delilah, especially when she was younger, looked like you when you were younger. Very much so.
She says Eric things all the time. And she does this shit too. Like I said, oh, I thought that was great the other day, Eric, Delilah, when you said, Dad, you're just making excuses for their incompetence. And she corrected me. No, I said, you're just justifying their incompetence.
Yes.
My bad. You are correct. I misquoted you. I'm sorry. that catch-up thing was just so great. Delilah. Delilah ordering her hamburger from In-N-Out via us with extra ketchup. And they put ketchup on it, which normally they don't put any ketchup, but they didn't put extra ketchup. And I tried to say, well, Delilah, I mean, that is a little bit confusing to them because they don't normally put any ketchup. And that's when I got, you're just justifying their incompetence. What a wonderful daughter you are, my wonderful daughter.
She is so wonderful.
I love her so much.
I'm like thinking in my mind, I have half of like her Christmas gift like with me, like, but I feel like the main gift is like so.
My question is, why did you cut her Christmas gift in half?
I didn't cut it in half. I just put some of it in the fucking.
I'm just joking, darling. I'm just joking.
I put it right on top of the pod too, because I'm like, oh, we'll be living here, so I could just go and inside the pod as I want. But it's a much harder task than that.
Right. Well, I feel a good deal of satisfaction at figuring something out the other day, which had been troubling me, which is, it doesn't matter whether their inspection is scheduled today, tomorrow, or whatever. We cannot go back to that house until it is unstaged completely.
Yeah, it has to be, because we can't trust the.
Because we can't be there in the house and not let the cats in the house. We've got them accustomed to this current situation now, which sucks for them, but basically I don't even want to go back to the house at all. I'm afraid that even after they remove all of the staging stuff, if Rachel and I go live there for 5 days, by the time the new owners come to get the key, it's going to be a pile of rubble. I'm really good at accidentally breaking everything, so. Oh, we have 2 cats, and I went there this morning and fed them. That's why I was live streaming this morning from the house. I also did the last little bit of extra cleanup for the inspections that I wanted to do. I used that towel in the garage to mop up the water, like I said, and I threw it in the trash can and into my ashtray, and put our pillows off of the bed back into the closets, and a couple other little things like that that we need
Thank
to do.
you.
And we'll go back there again this evening to feed the cats again and hang out with them in the back house for a little bit.
And guess who has packages?
Oh, good. Rachel has this hilarious,
I feel guilty. I feel so
this
guilty.
hilarious belief somehow that it's bad of her to receive packages.
Oh. It may come from like, you know, living in an unhealthy environment where getting packages is like,
It may also come from the fact that I've told you so many times about how Candace was
yes,
constantly getting
yes,
packages. But Candace was a ridiculous money waster. Rachel is a very careful consumer. She even returns things that she doesn't like.
yeah, because it drives me crazy. I don't like having things in my closet that I don't wear.
And Delilah expressed it perfectly. Wow, I'm really impressed with that, Rachel. When I buy something I don't like, I just chalk it up as an L.
I guess she did. Yes, she did.
Right, and I'm the same way. When I buy something I don't like, I just chalk it up as a loss. Well, I made a poor decision in my purchasing. That's my fault. I'm just gonna throw it away. But that's not a smart way to do things, you know.
C.J. O'Connell, the family that Delilah is living with, which is Eric's Candace's family, they call her female Eric.
My first wife, when Delilah was just like 2 months or 3 months old, was already getting annoyed with her and calling her Eric Jr.
That little? Come on.
I shit you not. I shit you not. We were only together for her first 2 years of life, and she was already getting annoyed by Delilah, and when she was calling her Eric Jr.
Wow.
Because even as like a 1-year-old, she had so many Eric qualities. She was a TI tool user, and her mother was an FI dom, and her mother did not like our TI. Even when Delilah was 1 year old, she didn't like it.
That, I mean, congratulations, Ludafe. I'm so happy for you, and thank you. Yeah, it's like a burgundy. Yeah, the family, they call her that. That she lives with, they call her Eric Jr. or like
Female Eric.
yeah, female Eric. Yeah.
And the thing is, she's so much nicer than me. She's a peacemaker. She's not an 8. That's the difference between her and
No,
me.
she's got a 1 probably, right?
I think she's probably a 1.
She's not 9.
No, she's not 9
Oh,
either.
so she's got to
She's
be
got to
1.
be 1. But 1 with 2.
Yeah, she's a 2 mainly.
1 with 2 makes a 9ish kind of a vibe. Because
Like,
she told me this story about something that happened over there, and I wanted to be let off the leash so I could go rip some fucking heads off, you know. She said, "No, listen, Dad, I'm the peacemaker around here."
wow, she knows.
And I said, "Well, whenever you're ready to let me off this leash, just give me the go-ahead. And somebody whose name rhymes with Banthony will understand how dumb and of little worth he is for the rest of his life."
So, Lou, how did they take it? Were they surprised? That I am so proud of you. Like, giving notice is not my specialty. In fact, I usually will send an email and be like, I've been treated poorly. I'm not happy with this company. I'm quitting. I don't even give my notice if it's that bad. If it's that bad, but
I'd probably say something like, I'm hereby giving you 2 weeks notice. However, I should inform you that during these last 2 weeks, I'm going to do a terrible job. I've met my obligation to give you notice. I don't like you. And during these last 2 weeks, I'm going to do an absolutely terrible job. How do you like that? 2 weeks notice. I'm giving you 2 weeks notice. The next 2 weeks, I'm going to fuck up your company as much as possible. Right?
it's like you're doing the right thing.
If look, if I'm quitting because I'm getting a better job, that's one thing. If I'm quitting because you're shitty, that's a whole different matter, right? You don't get to get away with being shitty. I'm going to get you back. I'm a big believer in vengeance. In fact, I kind of love it.
Her rising sign is Aries, Karma Pim. I know too much about people's. Forget what her moon sign is though.
Ludafe says, ha ha ha, he will not be accountable for the shittiness I've been trying for years. Well, there's the problem, Lou. It's been you who's been trying to hold him accountable for his shittiness. If it were me, well, whole different matter.
Because like INFJ wisdom to some people, like they just don't want to hear it. Like people, you can.
Lou, you are not good at yelling at people and holding them accountable. Almost nobody is, and that's fine. Nobody should feel like they should be good at that, right? It's not really a great thing to be good at. It's kind of a dick thing to be good at. Almost nobody's good at yelling at people and holding them accountable because you've got to be both angry, correct, articulate, and not make any mistakes in what you say.
Yeah, that's not everyone's.
And I have all those 4 skills, but almost nobody does.
So you gave in your notice, 2 weeks notice, Lou?
Oh, it's so awesome, CJ. It's so awesome.
It is, and it's awesome for me too because she's such like a delightful. She's such a delightful person.
She's
and
fantastic.
She really is. She really is. And I sent her this photograph of like a person doing like a weird pose, and it's like it says like me versus my friends. And I sent it to her because like I knew she would relate to it, and she right away was like, "Ha ha ha! That's so me compared to my friends. Like I'm such a weirdo compared to my friends." I think that's endearing because like to me she's so not a weirdo. Like, but she.
You know what she is? A strong woman.
She is.
I like to make fun of that term.
She's such a strong woman.
I like to make fun of that term because we watch Naked and Afraid. And like literally every other chick who goes on it talks about, I'm a strong woman. There aren't enough strong women in this world. Makes me want to go on the show and say, I'm a weak man. I'm here to represent weak men on the show. And you know, there aren't enough weak men in the world. My daughter is actually a strong woman, you know, like well, as Rachel and I were saying the other day to each other or the bartender, Delilah would be a great bartender.
Yeah.
She's very personable, very attractive, very good at deflecting unwanted flirtation, and if necessary, taking control of the situation and dominating.
Yeah, I mean, if she was a good barista at Starbucks, she could absolutely be a good bartender. I mean, there's more that you have to do. There's probably just equally as much that you have to do at Starbucks.
Well, thanks,
Thanks, Paris.
Paris. I couldn't read your name, but Rachel could. I do have. Oh, good.
You,
Look.
you new
No,
glasses.
no, I've got
What?
great news. I've already lost them.
You're freaking loud.
Oh, they're in my pocket.
I'm glad they're in your pocket.
I still want to hang with you two, by the way. Maybe later today. Yeah, we should be free later today. That
Yeah,
sounds good.
that was on my mind too. I'm glad you still want to. I
Let's
I
go
didn't
do
forget
this
about
Delilah
it.
thing.
Yeah, let's
Let's
go do
this
this Delilah
thing.
thing.
And then we'll maybe get some food.
Yeah, I'm starting to get hungry, so that'll be good. We can
Yeah.
get the food for her. Okay, well,
Oh,
whatever.
yeah, we can get food on the way over there and just get her food. And then we'll come back here and we'll shoot you a text or something. Alright?
Yeah, we'll shoot you a text.
Alright, friends, neighbors, countrymen. Rachel and I love you all very, very much. And I want to thank you for being here to watch our live stream. Very, very much. And to remind you very, very much to not forget to eat plenty of cheese.
Plenty of cheese.